I don't know, maybe. Does anybody have their copy of Womanthology with them by chance? We might need you for a prop at some point. So, is it 4:30? Do we just get started then? Yeah. Are you all set? Well, do you want to show? We're here to talk about Renae De Liz and about, everybody, our most recent work, obviously, Womanthology, that everybody knows about. But we're going to back up a little, way back, and figure out where you started. So we actually have some. Do you have that all queued up there? So, because actually there are some. So, really, basically, well, first, have you already done your comic books?
Yeah, my first real comic series I started reading was Sonic the Hedgehog. That was my new. Yeah, I was in love with that. Yeah, that was my favorite series.
To the point. How old were you?
I was like 9, 10.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It's really
so I read that for like 4 years or so, and that was what I started drawing a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog, and then it kind of expanded into Bone and Gen 13 and Youngblood. I think it was another one I used to buy.
Right.
Just kind of branched out to all of the different comics.
Now, did you?
Can
you have your phone?
Yeah, I was going to say move the mics
Oh, you want them a little closer?
closer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're trying to conversation. Well, now I'm really curious. Okay, so if you actually read Sonic the Hedgehog, do you know who the artists were?
Yeah.
Who were the artists?
Of course I did. It was like Patrick Scaziante and Art Mahini and Ken Penders and just a bunch of them. They were my heroes at the time. Just seeing them draw the character that I love so much.
So how did you manage? Because I know with myself, from the point when I thought about doing comics to the point where I actually did a comic was like 10 years easily, just in trying to figure out the most basic, how it's done. So how did you start the process of figuring out, how to break into comics?
I didn't start doing that until I was about 22, I think. But I was, yeah, I know. I'm 29 now.
Oh.
But yeah, so when I was,
Closer to the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had you actually had a soundboard up there. I was just going to turn those up a little bit.
Yeah, when I was younger, I drew my own comics just for fun, but I never really thought I'd be in comics. I didn't think it was possible. I didn't know what to do, where to start. It just seemed an impossible thing to me for whatever reason. And then after high school, I ended up quitting, just thinking it just could never be anything. All my friends were going to college, and I didn't think comics was anything that I was supposed to pursue. And then I ended up having my oldest son, and shortly after having him, I decided that comics is what I missed the most, and then I really wanted to get back to it. And so I just started drawing again, and I finally got the internet and joined the next era, and discovered digitalwebbing.com, which is a nice little community of comic book creators. And then just kind of learned from there. I started getting little jobs, and
Are you as far as the actual art goes, are you completely self-taught?
Yeah, I think I bought a book on how to draw like animals at some point. Yeah, animal skeletons actually.
Really? So
I was trying to learn their infrastructure, but I pretty much just observe things as much as I can, and because I want everything to have my own look and feel to it if I can. But there's still a lot of influence from when I was younger. I watched a lot of Rankin Bass cartoons and like Last Unicorn.
But you have you're creative in general. Anyway, because I'm now going to the story of how we met, which was actually we didn't even meet through comics. I forgot how it worked exactly, but I basically seen a costume she'd made. She made the most amazing, abominable snowman costume for who's now her husband Ray. And I wish we had a slide of that thing, because I'm still blown away. We're talking like Disney quality, like an entire monster suit, I think.
Yeah, I just need Halloween one to make something.
It was amazing.
Big
So
Yeti.
I started.
But it was really great.
I started bugging because I wanted to. At the time, I was doing Bigfoot. Remember, I think that's when I was doing Bigfoot with Corbett, so I wanted a Bigfoot costume.
Yeah.
So I see that.
Someday.
I wound up meeting you and Ray, and I think at the time you were actually doing a lot of sketch cards, weren't you?
Yeah, sketch cards was my first actual art job, I would say. It was a Lord of the Rings sketch card set, and I went to San Diego Comic-Con in '05, I think, and I had a friend, Kat Staggs, who had been drawing those sets before, and she was like, hey, come on over and show your artwork, and maybe you can get on the set. And so I did, and they took me on, and that
sketch cards and what that is? You know, it's just basically randomly inserted original art that they put in trading card packs.
Yeah, it's kind of like prizes you find in trading card packs of original artwork. So they're pretty collectible.
Really collectible. Actually, I've seen some to sell for thousands.
Yeah.
Does that happen with you? Because that's what I was thinking. You know, believe me, nobody's going to pay thousands to do these things. And so then they find them in the pack and they put them on eBay.
Yeah, that's the thing they do.
Sell for a lot of money.
Because you don't know where they are. Sometimes they'll buy a box of trading cards and they'll say there will be 2 cards in this box somewhere.
Well, they are genuinely collectible and it's original art. So.
But it's a lot easier for practice sake, to get a job in sketch cards and just learn as much as you can from it, and then you can even just branch out in the comics from there.
Yeah, well, it does train you really well, because one of the things I always hear about, especially illustrators who say they want to break into comics, the first thing they learn, I didn't realize I had to draw the same guy so many times. It's like, no, you got to draw, 6 times a page. You got to keep, and the sketch cards is like doing this panel over and over again.
Yeah, I had to draw Frodo, I don't know how many times. He's the most difficult thing to draw in the world.
So was the transition, so then what was your first comic?
Oh gosh, my first published comic or?
First one you wanted to make sure. I have 3 before I made my published.
I guess my first comic would have been Blood and Roses. Yeah, it's still going actually. It's bluelinepro.com. It's the guy who owns it. Yeah, he's been doing it for decades.
We don't have a slide of that because
it's
not yet. We don't have IDW slides.
But then after that it was Rogue Angel and for IDW, and then after that was Last Unicorn, and somewhere there it's on it.
Is that the first one for IDW?
Yes.
And that was based on the life, that's Angel, the Buffy character.
No, it's based off a series, a book series, a novel, Rogue Angel.
Oh, so you've done a bunch of them in the adaptation, because you also did the Anne Rice series as well.
Yeah, adaptations are pretty fun.
They are. It is fun. I've done a lot of them myself. I love doing that kind of stuff. So did you get to adapt the stuff that you were drawing?
You can write it. I didn't write those, no.
Yeah.
So,
Who did that one?
Barbara Kiesel did Rogue Angel.
You wrote Angel?
Mm-hmm.
Which was an original story, not an adaptation. It was just based on the pulp character.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So then what about the Anne Rice one? Who
Ryan Huebner, who's also my editor. Yeah.
Yeah. What was that? Did you get to the Anne Rice at all?
No.
Yeah. Do you know if she read the comic?
Yeah, I saw a YouTube video of her looking through it, so that was pretty exciting for me. I think she liked it.
Yeah. So, obviously, I knew you years before because of the trading cards and the sketch cards things you were doing, but really, I think everybody first really noticed you last year. And at least that's the one where I started seeing that everywhere. So, was that a dream project?
It was. Because I had it on, the way I got it is I had it on my Facebook page that I liked The Last Unicorn. And Tom Maltz, who was my editor for Rogue Angel, remembered seeing it. And so he's like, hey, you want to try out to be the artist for this? I was like, yes, I would. Because I'm a longtime fan of the cartoon especially. And then I got familiar with the novel later on. But it's just a wonderful story. And I was felt so lucky that I picked me to do it. So hopefully people are okay with it. There's so many people that, are in love with the story. So.
Yeah. And so far, everything I've seen, it seems like people really responded to it, especially fans of the series. Those are always the people you want to hear.
Yeah.
That's like, I used to do the adaptation of Richard Matheson for IDW, doing that. But I guess, what really, and this is really actually a good story, because I remember coming up to Womanthology. Do you remember the phone call when you were just thinking about doing it? You called me?
Yeah.
And Renae called me and said, I want to do this thing on Kickstarter, and it sounded like a great idea. But do you remember I told you what the limit should be?
What was it?
I said, don't go for any more than $10,000. It's like, you'll just be disappointed by this whole thing, and then it really, tell us something about it, because that must have been really surprising. What was the final Kickstarter?
I think we raised $109,000 and some odd.
Yeah, so don't ever listen to me.
Yeah, our goal was $25,000, which was already just a ridiculous number.
So, that must have been incredible when it was happening. Did you panic at any point, thinking that it was just going to be too big?
Yeah, as soon as it crossed the 25,000, I was like, I wonder if I should just stop, just make it stop, because I had everything perfectly planned up to 25,000, The only thing I didn't plan for was success.
Right.
So it just kept going and going, and I'm thinking like, can we still print this off? And there was a lot of calculations going on because I wanted to make sure I could fulfill all the rewards and print enough books.
And you did some great rewards on that.
Well, a lot of it, luckily, it was just people came forward and wanted to be a part of it, which was really, really nice. So
Well, that's my
comics
memory.
industry people are the best.
Well, that's I mean, especially we're kind of living in a time where everybody's sort of, some comics are changing, comics are dying, all the various things. And when I saw what happened on Kickstarter with Womanthology, I was like, somebody out there wants comics, because they're willing to put up this kind of money to, get it made. So now, how did that change plans? Because originally we were just doing the 25 for the first book, for one book. So now you have all this extra money. So now it's going to be a series, right? Are you going to try to do more of them?
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll be announcing something tomorrow, so we'll see.
Oh. So do you have one actually? Yeah. And has everybody seen this thing? It's a monster. I don't know if everybody's seen, the actual book that she wound up producing, but it's so impressive.
It's a weapon, almost.
What's that?
It's almost a weapon.
I know. You definitely could kill a dude with it if you had to, But it's an amazing book. And so how many books do you have planned?
Books, you mean
As far as, are you going to do more Womanthologies with more themes?
Yeah, well, tomorrow will be.
You'll be telling okay. It's not like it's not the spotlight.
I know.
But what was it like? So, I can't imagine you didn't set out to really be kind of editor publisher now.
Yeah, it wasn't. My first intention was to get together, 10 of my friends, meet a few other female creators, and make a neat little, maybe a floppy book.
Yeah.
It's not very floppy. I was amazed by how many women were interested. They really just they love comics, and they wanted to make them. So.
Well, do you think that there's a serious, people underestimate how much women like comics in general?
Yeah, I think it's fading quite a bit. I think mindsets are changing quite a bit. I think people are realizing that there are a lot more interested than they once thought. And I notice it throughout the years out in Artist Alley, just more and more women are setting up. So I think eventually it's just.
Yeah, the fan base has always been there. I really never understood why people said that. Because especially I do a lot of horror stuff. I just happen to know it's mostly women.